Hello and welcome to this workshop on cultivating the 5 habits to being your best self. My name is Katrina Horn, and before we dive into all the content I've prepared for you, let me just remind you that there is a workbook available. If you want to download that, you can either scribble in it as we go along or save it for later. Welcome if you're here live. Welcome if you're watching the replay. If you're here live, feel free to type in comments or questions in the chat, and I will get to them perhaps towards the end so that I can go through the content in case you are pressed for time. I hope that, I plan to make this an hour's workshop, and I want to respect your time. So that's why I go quickly into content, but it doesn't mean that you can't ask questions, right? So just know that this is recorded. If you are on camera, then if you speak, you will be recorded too, just so that you know. But let's dive into the delicious content. Why am I talking about being your best self? When I talk about being your best self, I don't mean to say that there is an absolute. So your best self is not my best self, and it's not our neighbor's best self. It's not anybody else's best self. So there is no absolute and there is no standard against which we can compare ourselves. It's about us and how we feel. So I used to think that being at my best meant perfection, right? And that didn't feel like fun. It really felt like a lot of hard work. And that's why I sort of put that idea aside. And what I noticed I was doing was that I was making myself less. I was somehow making myself small, meaning that, for instance, if people visited me and they told me, oh, it's so tidy here, because I'm just a tidy person, I would somehow make that mean that I was wrong to be tidy, like that I should be more messy, or I don't know what. I mean, that was a big problem for me for a long time because I had this craving for everything to be in order, or I just prefer it when everything is tidy in its place. So also, I was a musician and I thought, oh, all these artistic people, they're so messy. Like, I'm so tidy. Maybe I'm not artistic enough, right? So we make it mean a lot and we make ourselves wrong for being how we are. I could just embrace the fact that I was very tidy and run with it, if you see what I mean. Nothing wrong with being tidy, right? And if I'm tidy, it doesn't mean that you have to be tidy. We get to decide. So when I talk about being at our best, it's something that feels good. When we feel good about who we are, we can go on to doing so much more in the world. We can go on to do the stuff we want to do. We can allow ourselves to dream big. And that is really what I want for you. So that being said, let me share my screen and let's move into the content. So you have got a workbook. If you want to go ahead and download it, you can either download it via, if you're on the replay, the YouTube page, you can go down into more and there'll be a link to the workbook. Or if you're here live, look at the email, go back to the email that I sent out that got you the link, that got you here in the first place. So you're in the right place if your biggest fear is that life is passing you by. You haven't got much time to waste, right? You want it to be happening now. You're at a place in your life where you're thinking, right, I'm this age and I really want to experience this and I really want it to be now, right? So you're fearing a little bit that things are not moving the way I want them to. So you're not enjoying life as much as you would want to. And you believe that if you go on like this, you won't get to the place you so want to be. So you feel the need for change. Also, you're trying to live up to expectations. And we're going to talk about expectations. But you're trying to live up to some sort of idea of other people's expectations or your expectations instead of simply trusting yourself and who you are. Also, your life could be feeling like routine. Could be feeling like I'm getting up every morning, the same predictable things happen to me all through the day, and that is frankly not inspiring. And these are some of the feelings that you could be feeling on a regular basis: overwhelm, fatigue, anxiety even, frustration, disillusionment. You could be short-tempered, negative, angry, impatient, and you could be making yourself wrong for it. So you want to change by telling yourself that you're wrong, but that way is a very difficult way to change. It's not inspiring, it doesn't feel good, and chances are you won't change because you're doing that through force. So having all these emotions I just mentioned are normal. It's just, what are your predominant emotions? What are the emotions you go back to often? And they could be linked to that idea of disappointment. I'm not being at my best, right? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I know it somehow. I'm making myself wrong, and I feel even worse, right? That's what we're changing today. So you're trying to create change for yourself by force. Oh, I must stop this. Like, imagine wanting to lose weight and you say, oh, I must lose 10 pounds. That doesn't feel good, right? It really doesn't. And chances of you being able to lose 10 pounds and keeping them off are much smaller than if you come to losing weight through being your best. And I hope this is what you're going to see in this workshop. Also, you do a lot of wishing instead of deciding, I wish I could lose 10 pounds, right? You're wishing, you're not really claiming your power. If you decide to lose 10 pounds, look at what you could do. It's a decision, right? But as long as we are not embracing ourselves at our best, we really can't feel our power, and we really can't feel the right or the legitimacy to make a decision about our lives. We feel that we might fail because we lack trust in ourselves. And I think we'd be right, because how can we trust sort of a wishy-washy version of ourselves? It's very difficult. When we want to trust or believe in things, it's because we feel how solid it is. We feel we can rely on it. We can sit down and relax and trust. That's how we move things. Also, you could be telling yourself that you don't know what you want, you don't know how to get it, you don't know who you are, all of that, which is not really true. It's simply that you're preventing yourself from really engaging with it, really feeling it. That could lead to a lot of procrastinating, I should say. And also, you could be choosing the instant gratification over the long-term fulfillment. So instant fix, I want things to be working instantly. If they don't work instantly, it's because they will never work. Let me choose something different. So I want to persuade you that choosing long-term fulfillment is always, always, always preferable to instant gratification. Sometimes they go together, but sometimes they really don't, right? And when you are at your best, you're able to, first of all, tell the difference. Secondly, you're able to make the right choice. You're not sitting there wishing, I wish I was able to resist this apple crumble, right? You're just deciding, this is not for me. I'll wait till Sunday when I planned on having some apple crumble anyway. Do you see what I mean? So welcome to the people who are joining. I'm just moving on with our content. If you want to see the beginning, you're free to watch a replay, but we're just going to move on. So let me just tell you that only your best self can see what's possible and be inspired by it, which is logical. If you think about you feeling fearful, you in overwhelm, you doubting your abilities, all of that will just have you play very limited, right? You will feel the limits more than the scope. So unless you really dive into who it is you are at your best, it will be difficult to allow yourself to dream. It will be difficult for you to just go for things. it will be really difficult for you to feel worthy of the things you want. So let's dive into the 5 habits I'm going to share with you that you can choose to cultivate today, like you start today, to be at your best, to be your best self. And I really want this to feel like coming home, right? So you're being inspired by who it is you are. You're feeling all the possibilities of that person, right? And this is what will add so much satisfaction to your life. I could say joy too, but I really think that we could start off by going for satisfaction, which is one of my favorite emotions, because I can always get to satisfaction. I can't always get to ecstatic joy, but I can always get to satisfaction. So there's so much to be said for satisfaction. So number 1 habit to cultivate is self-care. So I know I'm always going on about self-care because, you know, I'm a self-love activist, but just think about it. Self-care is your opportunity to show yourself that you matter and that you're worthy, perhaps extra trouble. And to imagine that for yourself, I just want you to think about a child. Imagine telling a child, well, you're just not worth it. Because we have got a conscious mind and we've got a subconscious mind. And our subconscious is a little bit like this child who just downloads information with no filter. So if you are being stingy with self-care on yourself, if you're starting to feel deprived, if you're running low, like you're not filling up your batteries, you're not fueling up, then that is really sending yourself the signal that you're not important enough, that you're really not worth it. And when you transfer that situation onto a child, it really becomes extra, like really clear, doesn't it? I mean, it would be unimaginable, really, sometimes to treat a child the way we treat ourselves. And I know this because I've done it. So here's an example. So I'm all for getting off to a good start in the morning, because I make sure to do all the things I want to do for myself in the morning before I start anything else, because that way I'm sure to fit them in. If I wait till the afternoon, I might get caught up in something else and I might not do it. So just think about how your day would feel if you started off with exercise or a meditation or journaling, by just taking the time to look your partner in the eyes, right? What if you applied makeup? Not that you have to, but it's just an option. What if you really had yourself look as if you're going to your best friend's wedding, right? What if you ironed your clothes? What if you looked ahead to your day and said, oh, at one point I'll be having lunch. Let me just prepare the most delicious and healthy lunch for that gorgeous person that I am. Let me just do that. What if you had a beauty routine in the morning so that you felt you looked your best before you started your day? And can I take this back to the image with the child I gave you earlier? If you say to yourself, oh yeah, but Katrina, I don't have the time to do all of this. Well, just choose one thing to do for yourself. And if you tell me, well, I already get up at 6, you know, so I can't get up any earlier. Just think about telling a child, I can't be bothered to get up 15 minutes earlier for you. Right, that's really what you're telling yourself. That is really the message you're receiving. And how can that be true? How can that be true? It's not true, right? You would get up 15 minutes earlier if you thought it was useful. So please try it out. Please choose something you can do for yourself from the moment you open your eyes. How could you have yourself feel that you are so special, that you're so worth the effort, that there's nothing you would stop at to set you off to a brilliant day? What if you got up with the idea that I'm going to be my best today, right? And you set yourself up for success with one of these. for instance. Also, in your workbook, I invite you to have a zero guilt self-care formula. And I suggest you play with this in the morning. Like every morning I get up at least an hour before I have to do anything. And during that hour, it's often 2 hours. I've got the luxury to be able to pay myself 2 hours of self-pampering. And that includes exercise, it includes journaling, it includes meditation. I work on my thoughts and my beliefs. I do all that in the morning because I think that's the most important thing I can do for myself and for my clients. But what I have many of my clients start off with when we first start working together is to give themselves a gorgeous coffee in the most exotic or most elegant or whatever coffee shop near to where they live, so that they can start feeling so special, that they are worth whatever it costs to sit in that environment and have that coffee. So if you do that, if you want to play with this, go ahead, choose somewhere that feels really high end for you. So that could be anywhere from the Ritz to Starbucks, you know, but choosing somewhere that will have you feel worthy, like, wow. And if you do that on a regular basis, one day it will just become your new normal. And you'll be sitting there in those gorgeous surroundings, having that exquisite coffee, and you'll be thinking, this is just me and my life. I'm just busy being Katrina, right? So that is subtly changing your subconscious dialogue here. It's changing the tape, really, that is running. And it's changing it into something that really highlights how worthy you are. You are worthy of the trouble to go into that place. You're worthy of whatever sum of money that costs. You're worthy of the whole experience. You're so worthy that it just becomes normal for you. So I like to think about self-care as fuel, just like you would charge your phone, your mobile phone with electricity, or your car with fuel. You want some self-care to charge you. And I want to call it zero guilt, because sometimes we think, oh, I don't really need it. I should be doing something much more productive. Like, how can I spend half an hour going to a coffee shop in the morning? It's just not productive. It's not useful. It's pampering. It's a lot of things. And we can start feeling guilty as we're sitting there in the luxury environment. We could be telling ourselves, oh, not everybody can afford to do this. People are starving in the world, and I'm spending all this money on me and my coffee. Do you see what I mean? So we can have trained our brains to go for what's wrong, like what's wrong about what I'm doing. But if you can sort of train it into thinking about, well, what's good about it? What's actually right about it? I'm sitting in these luxurious surroundings, and to me that would mean like marble top little round tables with perhaps gilded chairs, chandeliers, fine porcelain, all of that stuff. That would really fuel me. That would really charge my batteries, if I can say it like that. That would feel so good to me. That, having started off my day like that, it would really fuel me to be at my best. Do you see the correlation? I've taken the time to fill myself up with something that I really enjoy. And why not choose something as frivolous as having coffee in gorgeous surroundings? I've taken that time, I've devoted that time. That must mean that I'm worth it, because I keep doing it. So perhaps at the beginning, it will feel off. It will feel like really strange. It won't feel as if it's you doing it. You will feel self-conscious perhaps. But if you stick with it, if you wait for the change to operate its miracle on you, you will really see phenomenal results. Because let's imagine you go off to work after that coffee. How do you think you're going to feel coming into work? Right? How do you think people are going to react to you, interact with you, how do you think you're going to sound when you come from that place? So think about it. To function optimally, what could you put into place right now? And then in the workbook, I invite you to think about some thoughts that would help you avoid the guilt or erase the guilt. What could some thoughts be that would allow you not to feel the guilt, but just be there for all the goodness? So a thought could be, I'm at my best when I devote time, money, and energy to what I enjoy, right? I'm at my best. When I'm at my best, my family benefits, my employer, my co-workers, my business, whatever it is for you, all of that benefits from you being yourself. So you talk yourself intellectually into a very good reason why there should be no guilt. And then you just practice thinking those thoughts. Am I making sense? Let me know. Am I making sense? So feel free to type into the chat and let me know if it's making sense or not. That would be good to know. Habit number 2 is the self-loving discipline that we need to pull this off. So if you say to yourself, okay, I'm ready, Katrina, to spend some time on myself in the morning, then you need the self-loving discipline to pull it off, don't you? Because it's so easy in the morning to think, oh, getting up 15 minutes early, no, I'm just too tired. Let me press snooze, right? So easy. Yeah, I got to bed late. I had a nightmare, I woke up, let me just sleep a bit more. But ask yourself, and you can do so in the workbook, if I continue this behavior for a year, where will that take me? So if you're lying in bed, you press snooze instead of getting up to exercise, instead of getting up to go for a walk, instead of whatever it is you decided on. Ask yourself, if I continue this for a whole year, where will I be? And you will probably be in exactly the same place. So this kind of behavior is not serving you. It really isn't. It might feel better in the short term to be snoozing there, but it really won't feel better in the long term, because imagine if you got up 15 minutes earlier every morning to do just 10 minutes of exercise. What could that do for you accumulated over a year? What could that do for you? Maybe it would make you lose those 10 pounds. Maybe it would make you feel healthier. Maybe it would make you feel more energized. So much is available when we commit to something and then follow through on it. And that requires some self-loving discipline. And I don't call it discipline, I call it self-loving, because we are not there to force ourselves to do anything. We are there to inspire ourselves to do something. So inspiring ourselves could be thinking about you and your health in 1 year if you do exercise every day. What if you did a meditation every morning? What would that do to your mental health for a whole year? How long would you be able to meditate after a year of practicing every day? What would that do to your temper, to your thinking? Just think about it. So you have to be willing to forego the short-term pleasure of snoozing, in my example, for the long-term pleasure of being at your best. Right? If I continue this behavior for 1 year, where will that take me? You could be getting up to learn French or playing the piano or whatever it is. And after 1 year of learning a language, well, you might be able to speak it. Or 1 year of learning to play the piano, you might be able to play it. Do you see what I mean? It's really all those little things that accumulated take us to where it is we want to be. To think about it. What could you gift yourself? And what would you need? What discipline would you need that would inspire you? Also, sorry, speaking about the short-term and long-term, when we choose the short-term pleasure, it's because we're trying to avoid an emotion often. So simply not doing something because of the fear of the emotion is really a very, very powerful activator, if I can call it like that. Let me give you an example. If I think in order to, what can I say? In order to succeed in my business, I will have to, and then whatever you decide to do, if you look at that and you think, I might do all this, and if I do all this, I still might not succeed. What is the emotion you're trying to avoid? Could be the sense of failure. It could be disappointment. Could be any number of emotions. And sometimes we self-protect by procrastinating, by not doing something when we need to do it. We tell ourselves, oh, I can do without it. Or maybe doing it won't get me to where it is I want to be. But how can we know? How can we know? Again, it's about, I'm going back to that wishing. Instead of deciding, in my business, I will do this for a whole year, and I will be inspired by thinking about this. We're not excluding that we could be disappointed, right? But we're not expecting it. And that will bring me on to my fifth habit of today. But just think about it. Is there an emotion you're trying to avoid by not doing something? It could be maybe you're procrastinating over making a certain phone call. That will feel uncomfortable. It could be you're procrastinating about rewriting your CV to go looking for a new job. Any number of things. What is it you're avoiding? And what is the emotion really connected to that action that is really what you're trying to avoid? I think so often we think as the results of our actions aren't guaranteed, we think, oh, I don't want to go to that trouble. I really don't want to be doing this because it might not give me the result I want. And then I will feel so disappointed. I will feel so stupid for having tried it. I will feel that I will have been wasting my time. So try to dive a little bit deep here and tell me what comes up. What could it be that you're avoiding? Habit number 3 is elevate your self-concept. See yourself at your best. So in your workbook, I invite you to see yourself at your best. Who is that person? Who is that person at her best? And just get used to seeing her at her best, seeing you at her best. Also, start thinking about how you could put that into words. You could say things like, I'm the sort of woman who is always on time. I'm the sort of woman who thinks the best of people. And you can do that when you are at your best. You're willing to think of other people as their best, even if it doesn't come up to your expectations. Also, I'm the sort of woman who does her best even when it's inconvenient. Right? So I'm never cutting corners, right? I'm always at my best. I'm the sort of person who goes that extra mile for herself and for the people I care about. I'm the sort of woman who listens to others more than I speak or she speaks. Right? I'm the sort of person who looks at the bright side of life. Doesn't that feel good? I'm the sort of person who easily gets up in the morning to do my exercise. I'm the sort of person who's inspired by beauty. How can you talk yourself into being aware of who you really are? I'm the sort of person who just gets things done. I'm the person people people can come to for support. Think about all the good things you can say about yourself. I'm the sort of woman who can start my own business and make a success of it. Watch me. So just a sentence, I'm the sort of woman can really shift a lot subconsciously for you. And if you can combine that with an action, such as in my example with the coffee shop, I'm the sort of woman who spends £5 every morning on a gorgeous coffee for herself in luxurious surroundings. I'm that sort of woman. I'm that sort of woman who only buys quality clothes. I'm the sort of woman who refuses polyester. I'm the sort of woman who doesn't tolerate mess. Right? I'm the sort of woman who always looks her best. And when you start this game, just be sure to check in that you're not comparing yourself with anybody. So again, let me repeat, if you're saying, I'm the sort of woman who always looks her best, it doesn't mean that you look like a film star, right? Doesn't mean you look 22 years old. Just means that this is how you look your best right now, right here, with your wrinkles or with whatever you've got going on for you. And that's all good. You're just making the most of it. Habit number 4 is your environment. Enhance it. And I like to think about this as placing ourselves in an environment where we can shine. So we can make it difficult for ourselves, or we can make it easy. And I think we often, let me just speak for myself, because I used to do that all the time. I put myself in environments where I didn't fit in. And I just told myself, Katrina, just adapt yourself. And the whole idea of putting myself into an environment that I didn't enjoy just seems crazy to me now. Well, why would I want to do that? Okay, so I was young, I was trying out things, and why not try things out? But I just think I could have recognized much, much earlier that this wasn't an environment fit for me. I just couldn't shine there. Now I choose environments where I can shine. Not meaning that I'm outshining other people again, right? Just means that, like in the picture here, I can light my candle and I can put myself in the picture frame there and have it be okay. I can put myself in environments that really favor me, that allow me to be at my best. And think of it as a plant. You can place a plant in soil that is not fertile, where there's a lot of wind, it's too cold for it, whatever, and you won't expect it to bloom, would you? You wouldn't expect it to thrive. And yet we sometimes do that to ourselves, don't we? We treat ourselves as that plant. We want to grow in an environment that's just not fit for it. So please stop trying. Stop trying to fit in with an environment that doesn't suit you. I mean, you could spend a lot of your time trying to influence that environment. You could spend a lot of your energy trying to influence the people, have them change, whatever. But it's just so much easier to remove yourself from that environment and go to a place where you can shine. So in your workbook, I'm inviting you to make a plan to up level. And the first question is to make a list of the places that help you be at your best. And I like to associate or put myself in places that look beautiful to me. They might not look beautiful to you, but again, it's all about us. So when I'm sitting in a place that I find is beautiful, then I feel myself sort of vibrate with it. It can be out in nature. Like when I say beautiful, it doesn't mean it costs a lot of money or that there's expense involved. But I think being out in nature, as I love experiencing life through my senses, out in nature, there's so many smells. There's the wind on my skin. There's everything I can see and hear. There's so much to engage my senses, and I really feel I come alive. And inside, I enjoy big rooms. Like I don't enjoy so much tiny rooms where I feel a little bit cramped in. So what places help me feel that I'm at your best? It could be anything, a 5-star hotel, it could be a day at the beach. What are the environments for you, the places that help you be at your best? Make a little list of them just to become aware of them. I was making a post the other day writing about journaling, and the object of writing things down on paper is to create awareness, spending time with it. Once you've put it on paper, it becomes so much more concrete, and it's something you can look at. And we think, okay, I'll just make a mental list of it. I just think about it. But our thoughts, they just fly in, fly out. They go all over the place. Once it's written down, you can then choose to spend time consciously with it. So it's not your unconscious or your subconscious, your unconscious thoughts that are running the show. It's really your conscious mind. It's your intellect. It's your prefrontal cortex that's engaging with it. So put it down on paper, please. It might inspire you. And you can get really specific. You can name certain things. Like for me, it's chandeliers. So I think it's the glass I enjoy. It's the light in it. I'm very, very sensitive to lighting. And whenever there's a chandelier in a room, I'm just drawn to it. I just enjoy it so much. So you can be really specific, or it could be general, such as the beach, 5-star hotel, or the spa, or whatever. Make it as specific or as general as you like, and perhaps even both. And then help that fuel your imagination. Also, make a list of the people who help you be at your best. And I know that many of you are going to tell me, yeah, but my mum or whoever, you know, somebody from your family, and you can't avoid them. Okay, but don't put them on your list, right? Put other people on your list. Go for the people you really feel, oh, wow, they get me. They get me and they inspire me to be more of me, to be at my best. So typically, they wouldn't be the people who engage in gossiping, or like gossiping to me is speaking about a person who's not present, right? So that kind of behavior would not be helpful to anybody, I should think, but just some people are just not very inspiring to you, and some people are hugely inspiring to you. And I always try to go one up. So it could be intellectually stimulating, or it could be other business owners who've got a new idea, and I would get fired up by that. Try and think about what kind of people would really be the most inspiring. And if you can allow yourself to be inspired without being intimidated, without thinking, oh, these people are so much further along than me, or, oh, these people are so much more intelligent or so much smarter, or whatever it is that you are prone to think, these people are so much thinner than I am. If you could just not go there, and again, it's that comparison, if you can just use them for inspiration, I think it is so what is it? I'm saying inspiring all the time, but that's really the crux of it. It's also so uplifting. Maybe uplifting is another word. You know, when you go away from a conversation and you're just buzzing, right? You're just buzzing with everything you learnt. So you can use your workbook for this. Also in your workbook, I'm inviting you to make a list of the places you could choose to avoid. Just not go there. It could be your work canteen where people get together to eat. Maybe you just don't want to eat with these people because they're just not very inspiring. You are allowed to eat somewhere else. So that really mixes in the people you could avoid. And of course, you can't avoid family members, but maybe you can spend less time with them. Maybe you don't have to see them all the time. And maybe sometimes even in some situations, you might want to separate yourself completely from them. People are meant to make us vibrate positively, right? People are meant to make us feel good. If they don't make us feel good on a regular basis, well, maybe they're just not your kind of people. And of course, somebody can have an off day and they can make you feel bad. Well, I don't agree that people can make you feel bad, but maybe you feel bad with them, right? That's okay. But just on a regular basis, are these people uplifting me or are they dragging me down? And if they are dragging me down on a regular basis, maybe I don't need to see them anymore. I can fade them out. And this doesn't need to be something dramatic, right? It could be something as simple as just being different around them. Like if you are in the habit of spending time with negative people, you could just start being positive all the time, and then they will leave you alone, right? Because if they want negativity and you're only offering positivity, they won't want to spend time with you. So think about it. So what environments inspire you most? List them. Be specific if you can. So that could be environments with lots of flowers, environments with chandeliers, environments with whatever, with water, with whatever it is. What inspires you most? Right, just create the awareness. You don't have to take action on it. Just allow yourself to realize, oh, this is what I enjoy. See what I mean? My fifth habit to cultivate is to entertain high expectations. And that's when we can talk about self-protect again. Because if you think about children and Christmas, or when you were a child, I mean, I used to look forward to Christmas so much. I enjoyed everything about it. I had very, very high expectations. And when we allow ourselves to have high expectations, it means that we are all in and we are enjoying it ahead of time. So with Christmas, that would look like, I grew up in Denmark, which is in Scandinavia, and we are very big on Christmas up there. So the whole month of December would be lots of candle lights. It would be lots of sweets. It would be lots of reading together as a family. Even at school, we had stories read aloud to us. It was just a gorgeous time. I was very, very occupied by buying presents for everybody, and I felt so rich and so abundant. It was a glorious time. And if you can transfer that feeling onto anything going on in your life, you could be looking forward to your next holiday, or to getting a sofa, or reading a book, and just allow yourself to entertain those high expectations, being willing at the same time to be completely disappointed. Because that is the price, isn't it? It is the price we have to pay if we want to enjoy anything. We can hold back and say, oh, let me not get too excited about that. Which to me means, let me not entertain high expectations. Let me not get too excited because I might be disappointed. Well, why not just accept the disappointment if it comes? It might never come. And I think when you dial in those high expectations, you will have prepared your brain to focus on what corresponds to those high expectations. You won't even notice what doesn't. Has that happened to you sometimes? You've been going to a place and you've been wanting to go there and you think it's fabulous. You were with a friend and your friend could only see what was wrong and you didn't even notice. And I think that is how we can train ourselves to really go for it, entertain those high expectations, both with holidays or Christmas or events, with places, but also with people. If you entertain really high expectations of anybody, chances are that they will deliver. because you're just not having anything else. I'm going to this shop to get this item. I expect the whole experience to be successful. It's going to be pleasant. People are going to be in a good mood. Everybody is doing their best, and I'm just thrilled to be doing it. I'm entertaining those high expectations. Do you see what I'm getting at? High expectations really give so much more life quality, I find. I'm just looking at the time. Sorry. So if you can start enjoying things ahead of time, well, you can't lose the enjoyment you had ahead of time, can you? You've already felt the joy. You've already felt all the good feelings ahead of time. And when the thing happens, or when you meet the person, when you do the thing, well, it might be exactly what you expected, or you might get a little bit disappointed. But then what's disappointment? It's just a feeling. It will go away. So ask yourself, where am I self-protecting from disappointment? And we all are a little bit, right? I had this habit with my husband of not wanting to ask him a favor, because in the past I had been disappointed, and I just thought, oh, I can't bear any more disappointment with this. So I stopped asking him to cook dinner, for instance, so that I wouldn't need to be disappointed when he didn't. It sounds silly, but that really is what it was. So where are you doing something similar? Why are you just not doing something for fear you might be disappointed? And what if you didn't need to self-protect? What if you could just be disappointed? What if that was okay? What if disappointment was just part of life? Also, where are you holding back from the desire for more? Where are you not expecting more from life? More love, more money, more luxury, more whatever. Where are you holding your back? Where are you denying your desires for fear? For fear of what? For fear of feeling the lack? Well, let me just tell you, you won't be feeling the lack if you feel the desire. You can just feel the desire, and if you feel it enough, it will take you there. Believe me. Right? So where are you holding back from the desire for more? Also, last question, if I were willing to be completely vulnerable, meaning feeling disappointment, feeling let down, feeling anger, feeling whatever emotion, what would I be able to be, have, and do? So, of course, no workshop without me speaking about a chateau, right? So with my chateau, I'm just assuming that you know me a little bit, and that you know my dream is to live in a chateau. So if I'm willing to be completely vulnerable, if I'm completely vulnerable and willing to feel all the emotions that come with either living in a chateau or not living in a chateau, what would I be able to? Well, I'll be able to go and get a chateau, or live in a chateau, move into a chateau. I'll be able to do all that. I'll be able to be the chatelaine, right? I'll be able to have my self-love retreats in the chateau. I'll be able to do all that. I'm completely willing to feel all the emotions, what we call the positive as well as the negative. I'm just all in, because me at my best, I'm not afraid of my emotions. I'm available for them. I can feel any emotion. That's me at my best. And I do so believe that when we are at our best, it takes so much to pull us down. A little emotion can't change anything. If we really are playing all out because we are at our best, we no longer doubt ourselves, right? We know our capacity. We know when we can do stuff, and we just do it. right? And we can do it so wholeheartedly because we're not being held back by all these other strange thoughts as, oh, I must self-protect against disappointment. Let me not hope to find the love of my life because I might not find him or her, and then I'll be really disappointed. Let me not wish for a baby because I might not have it, or whatever it is, right? Let's not self-protect. Let's play full out. Let's be all of who we can be, because life is beautiful when we are at our best. Don't let us use this as an opportunity to beat ourselves up if ever we're not at our best. Let's just look at it with curiosity. Oh, I'm not being at my best here because I can feel the self-doubt. Where's that coming from? And when you start getting curious, if you look at all your emotions, all your limiting thought, just as, oh, wow, that is so curious. Why is that? Then it's no longer a source for reproach or judgment. It just becomes another thing. And I think that is really where life is the most joyous. And if you think about it, the worst thing you can do to yourself is not to become the person you could be, isn't it? It's like, there's another saying, don't die with your song inside you. Like, let's all get to sing that song. Let's all get to be who it is we really are. Once we let go of all the layers that are stopping us, right? All the places we are not allowing ourselves to be all of who we can. With a little self-care, who could we be? With a little bit of self-discipline, self-loving discipline, where could we be? Right? When we up-level our self-concept, who is that? Right? How can we have that person be supported by her environment? And how can we allow her to entertain those high expectations? So let me just quickly recap. Habit number 1 is self-care. Your thought with that self-care is, I'm so valuable. I'm just so valuable. This is how valuable I am. Habit number 2 is self-loving discipline. And the thought we can cultivate here is, let me just do that, right? Let me just do it, get it out of the way. Nothing is stopping me. Habit number 3 is elevate your self-concept. You can say that by, I'm the sort of woman who, nurture that idea. I'm the sort of woman who, fill in the blank. Number 4 is enhance your environment. Put yourself in a place that allows you to shine. And I'm just pausing here because I find that so moving. Just think of that plant that is in a place where it's not thriving, and you uproot it and you put it into fertile soil with the right weather for it, with the right everything for it, and you see it bloom. What if that was you? What if you could uproot yourself and put yourself exactly where it is that you can bloom? And I see myself as an example of that, because I was born in Denmark, and maybe with a lot of effort, I could have bloomed there, but I just uprooted myself and put myself in a different soil where I felt, oh, I can expand here. I can bloom here. So that's what I did. Maybe you want to. Habit number 5 is entertain high expectations. Stop the self-protection. Right? So I hope that has been helpful for you and that you will feel inspired. And of course, if you want to go all out on this, you can start today. Just decide on what it is you could do today that would really help you dive into that gorgeous person that you are. So of course, I can help you with that. And I would love to help you with that. All you need to do is to make an appointment for us to meet up. And when we meet up, I will show you just what is possible for you. So you follow a link that I will put in the chat, and you just go and pick a time. You pick a time, we meet up, and we go through what could be possible for you if you are willing, if you allowed yourself really to dream big. So this is what it looks like. You choose your date and you choose your time. and I made lots of times available. Let me just put the link in the chat if you want to go ahead, because why not take action now? Why wait till you're less inspired, right? So I just want to say, if you make an appointment, it's to explore what is possible for you. And that doesn't mean that you have to take me up on any offer I might give you to coach with me. It just means that this is what you could choose to do. Right, so you're not wasting my time. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy hearing what you're struggling with, and I enjoy helping you find a few insights that will spur you along the road. So you're under no obligation to me if you pick an appointment. It's just, it's available to you. It really is. It's available. You can choose to benefit from it or not. So saying that, with the people who are here, I would love to know if you've got any questions. And if you do so, let me just stop the recording. So if you're watching the replay, let me say goodbye and thank you for having followed along. I hope you were able to locate the workbook. You can go back to the workbook and do the whole workbook now, having watched the workshop, or you can watch the workshop, pause sometimes and do the workbook, whatever suits you best. So thank you for having followed along. I shall see you soon, I hope, either on a consult or for our next workshop. So bye for now.